What's up? All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BOTA Cast. I am James. I'm going to be your host today. I'm joined by the usual crew, Zach, Drew, Chris. How we feeling today, boys?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, my soggy people?
What's up, my soggy people? All right, we have a fantastic episode ready for you today. We got a great Week 9 recap. We got a Week 10 preview. As we always do, we got our game of the week. We got some news in the NFL. We got some college football playoff rankings coming out, actually, as we record this, so that's going to be interesting. Zach, we're going back to your NHL talk. Drew, we got you talking some dinger chat, and then we got our poll of the week. So let's kick it off. Right off the bat, the Thursday night game. Halloween, Spooksville, 49ers, Cardinals. That one, ooh. 49ers, Cardinals. Once again, the Cardinals had a great comeback going. They kind of just sputtered out, and too many mistakes started to add up. There was not a missed call at the end, but you saw the ref. It was a whole first down dispute that seemed like it should have gone the way of the Cardinals and could have given momentum, but obviously did not. What do you guys think of that?
Well, at this point, I don't think you can ever discount ref ball as being a major deciding factor in games. So that part doesn't surprise me. The Cardinals' big comeback against a team like the 49ers and that defense, that is surprising, though. Yeah,
Chris and I were going out for Halloween, and we went in, and the game was on, and we're like, wait, what the hell? Is that really the score right now?
The Cards were going to win. I thought.
I was so sold on a Kyler Murray comeback happening, and it just did not happen.
I know. Very came close, though.
But does it also say don't ever count the 49ers out this season? I mean,
absolutely.
There was, what was it? It was 21-14 when we walked into the bar.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers came back, the defense stepped it up, and they took the lead.
How about Emmanuel Sanders fitting into their offense fucking perfectly? I think he has 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
he scored both weeks.
He's fit really seamlessly into that offense. I mean, I feel like Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo have done a really good job of working him into their schemes.
Mm-hmm.
Just another piece that they can add to that offense that's really seeming to click, at least in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think they went out and got him for a reason. I think they had ideas in mind for him from the start. That receiving core really needed a veteran leader, someone to rely on. But a lot of good young talent there. I think that's going to be a really solid receiving core in the next 2 or 3 years.
I think so too. They have a lot of young potential, but let's keep it rolling on here. First game we're going to kick off with after that in the Sunday slate, Texans 26, Jags 3 in the UK. I had it written at first as Minshew Mania over ? Zach had quickly changed that to a period. As we know now, Nick Foles
should be more of an exclamation point. I was a little surprised when they tweeted that out.
Yeah, no, Nick Foles right in there. Minshew didn't have a great stat line either. I think he had a high number of turnovers. Let's say almost 4.
He didn't have a great stat line, but I mean, I don't know why. I feel like they should at least play him one more game. I mean, they're 4-4.
I don't see the point in rushing Nick Foles back when you have a quarterback like Minshew. I mean, if you didn't win a game while Nick Foles was gone and you looked horrible, sure, rush him back as quick as you can. But if you're still winning games, let the dude take his time to heal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And you don't really know the whole story. It could be Nick Foles' decision to come back. You know what I mean? If he's the one saying that he's fully ready, then it's up to Doug Peterson. Who's the Doug Marrone, excuse me.
Doug Marrone.
It's up to Doug Marrone. I mean, that's his call which quarterback he puts in. So, I mean,
yeah, and you don't. I mean, to be fair, you don't pay someone to ride the bench. You don't pay them Nick Foles money to ride the bench.
No, hell no. And most expensive backup of all time.
But really. when it comes down to it, is 1 or 2 more games really enough to be like, oh, we're paying this dude too much for him to sit 2 more games?
Yeah.
I guess, but even if you look at the AFC South right now, I mean, they're split up by 2 games. The Jaguars are at 4-5. Texans are at 6-3. Those 2 games could make a difference, especially with the Colts splitting them at 5-3. I still think it's the Texans and Colts division. It's between them easily.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars made it known that they're here. Which I'm completely discounting the Titans in last place at 4-5 somehow, but yeah, no, we're ignoring the Titans.
Quickly go back to you. So Minshew didn't have a terrible game. He had 2 interceptions, but he had 309 yards. Deshaun Watson only had 201 yards with 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
I mean, even though they only got 3 points,
Yeah, but don't forget, he also did give up a fumble too.
Did he?
He has fumbled a lot this year.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at his offensive line, no wonder why he's been getting sacked like a motherfucker.
Honestly.
That's 108 more passing yards though than Watson. It's not.
I guess,
it's not
but I mean, the
terrible.
scoreline favors Watson.
Obviously,
Also,
scoreline shows
I think
off.
this was a Carlos Hyde game, which was very rare. Carlos Hyde had a great rushing game, which was one of the every other
He
season.
did, yardage-wise, he didn't find the end zone. He had a fumble, too.
He had a fumble right before the end zone.
Right.
I like seeing Duke Johnson get involved.
He's been pretty decent for them when they needed him. I mean, I'm like in passing scenarios too. So
That's always how he's been, even in Cleveland, too.
I was going to say, I mean, in Cleveland, I love Duke. I want nothing but the best for him. When he left or wanted to trade, I was like, I understand. Like, you're buried in that backfield, and you could be not a one running back, but, you know, you can be utilized and have such a better role in a different system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially with Deshaun Watson playing the way he has, that's one of my other storylines of this is Deshaun fucking Watson just gets out of every tackle. He's a evasive-ass quarterback. And it looked like that knee injury 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever it was, never happened.
Yeah.
He looks fully confident on that thing.
Absolutely. It's nice to see.
Yeah, also sneaky good on that Jags line is Josh Allen, but that's a whole nother discussion about defense. They still need a lot more pieces. We'll see what they do in the draft this year.
Yeah.
Next game on the slate, the double doink revenge game. The Bears and the Eagles. Bears still fall short again. I believe it was 1 yard total passing at half, which I don't know how you do.
Yes, stat line on the half. I think they had negative 10 yards total.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I think that may have been including penalties. Don't quote me on that, but there was a stat flying around there that they had negative 10 yards total. So
yeah, no, that Bears offense is trash. Mitch Trubisky is trash, and I
think it's time that they bench him.
I do too, but who's behind him?
Chase Daniel, who actually knows how to run that offense.
Daniels.
No,
Chase
Daniels.
actually not awful. For a backup quarterback, you can put Chase Daniels and get a couple wins.
Well, but look at how much better the offense looked when Chase Daniel was playing quarterback when Trubisky got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
They looked like an NFL offense.
Like not a great one, but
a competent one.
Right, exactly. That's
and that's all we really want here is a competent team, like a competent running team.
That's all you need.
Thinking about a competent running team, just like the Bears defense is just getting left to hang. Like that's what I think is happening to the Patriots. The same thing happened to the Patriots. You know, their defense is fantastic, but if their offense is just going to keep leaving them out, they're just going to get worn down.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Patriots offense scored 13 points last game because they gave up a fumble that went for 7. So
correct.
The Patriots offense netted them 13 points last game.
Right.
That's bad.
All right. Moving right along, Vikings-Chiefs, 3-point game. Chiefs won that 26-23. Last second field goal. I have it written here. Matt Moore absolutely earned himself a contract somewhere. Like he earned himself not a Sam Bradford type deal where he's worth a first round no matter how many fucking knee injuries he has. I'm pretty sure Matt Moore has secured himself for the next couple years to get paid.
I don't know that Matt Moore wants to play football for years.
No, I mean,
I think he wants to go back to living his life and coaching a high school team and hanging out with kids. And Andy Reid just kind of pulled him off of the couch and was like, "Dude, come on,
we need you."
Andy Reid historically is really good with backup quarterbacks too. I mean, he is historically a pretty decent coach overall. I mean, no Super Bowls.
He just has no idea how to manage a clock at all.
That's always been his issue.
Yeah.
Always.
I just want to say.
I would say, yeah, Zach, talk to me, baby.
Oh, you know what's coming, don't you?
Oh, I know what's coming. Feed me, baby.
So I know James and I discussed this before we started our podcast, but their offense looked pretty confident without Patrick Mahomes. Wouldn't you say there, James?
Looked pretty good.
Looked pretty decent with Matt Moore, who was just recently a high school football coach, didn't they, James?
They all look pretty solid.
So, wouldn't you like to say that maybe it's the system?
Well, Zach, what could you possibly be saying about Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think Patrick Mahomes is as good as everyone else thinks.
Whoa, hot take in the streets.
Old statement.
Wow.
Now,
Zach, are you calling Patrick Mahomes a system quarterback?
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's take a step back here for just 1 second. I do think that the Chiefs' offense looks competent. I even say that they look good without Patrick Mahomes.
Just saying Patrick Mahomes lost them 2 games.
But, fair. But I also don't think necessarily that they lose to Green Bay if they have Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And I don't think that they're kicking a last-second field goal to beat the Vikings. I think they win those games fairly comfortably. Maybe not the Green Bay game, but I think they beat the Vikings fairly comfortably. And I think Patrick Mahomes, without a doubt, has the ability to be a game changer like Matt Moore does not.
Is
Bruins scored, maybe 3-3.
I'm with Drew here.
I was going to say, Chris, what's your input on this? What do you got?
I'm with Drew. I mean, almost exactly what he said. I think Mahomes has the ability where that system is good, but Mahomes can change outcomes of the game. Like he just said, they only won by 3 against the Vikings. He could have made that a 10-point game.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep going on to this. We'll talk about some more system quarterbacks that we think later.
I just want to put out a disclaimer. I don't actually think he's a system quarterback. That was just me fucking around with James before the podcast. I do think it's.
Disclaimers. Boo.
Whatever. Fine.
I
I like Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. He's a gunslinger. However, I think the system is very, very helpful for him. I think if he went to another team that didn't have as good of an offensive system as Andy Reid has in Kansas City, he wouldn't be the same quarterback.
And now
that is my take.
I do want to say one more thing. I think that Matt Moore is a very intelligent quarterback, which helps in that situation. Yeah. I keep going back to that throw he made to Travis Kelce in the Green Bay game, where he put that ball up. Kelce was not looking for the ball where it was, but he gave him time to run under it and find it. That's a veteran move.
Mahomes didn't play in Kansas.
No, not Patrick Mahomes. Matt Moore.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. I thought you said Patrick Mahomes.
Matt Moore put that ball up. What?
Intelligent or competent?
Both.
Oh, we got a both of them.
Because both is better than not both.
Fair. You're not going to hear me arguing that point. All right, keep it going. Colts 24, Steelers 26. Steelers win this game on an Adam Vinatieri missed field goal. Not the biggest story of that, though. Jacoby Brissett's knee going 5 different ways and having an MCL-ish injury, which I'm not sure what that means still.
MCL-ish?
That's what it says, MCL-ish injury. That's what they came out and said. And I was like, is it his MCL or not?
It's sort of.
It's like kind of an MCL injury, but also might be like a broken rib. Like, no, it's not how it fucking works.
Broken rib?
Yeah, it's like Darren
Sproles may have dislocated his pinky. Like,
yeah.
He has some chafing issues near the gooch or corner area.
Oh, man.
I mean, so
personal issues. We leave that up to personal issues.
Fair enough.
So keeping on with this, Brian Hoyer, another former Patriot, steps in. I think he threw a touchdown on his first pass. Fantastic. Shortly thereafter, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who turned out to be a fantastic trade for the Steelers. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Ended up getting a pick 6 off that, I believe. Kid's good. Kid just needed to get out of Miami. Let's talk Minkah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, the Steelers got a steal.
Steelers absolutely got a steal. They traded 1 first-round pick for a first-round pick from last year, and it's paying off dividends.
Oh, my God. He is unreal. Shutdown corner inside and outside where he prefers to play.
I mean, he's a safety.
Minkah Fitzpatrick's a cornerback.
He's a safety.
I mean, he might play. He was always a corner in Miami. They had him playing like inside slot corner.
Are you thinking of Xavier Howard?
No, they had Minkah playing 3rd slot corner in Miami. Miami for a while.
Well, I mean that makes sense because you can have the a first safety doing that. I mean, if it's his first year in the league, but
You're doing great, guys.
Yeah, no, great chat. Thank you. Speaking of Miami, how about that first win they got, 26 to 18 against the shit bowl Jets?
Someone had to win that game. I mean,
it's
a football game, right? There were two teams. They both played.
There was no way that could have ended in a tie.
And if it did, I think they should have just put both teams out, out the alley and taken them out of their misery.
Old Yeller style.
Old Yeller style.
So, I mean, it really does look like the entire Jets team is frustrated after this whole trade deadline ordeal. Jamal Adams looked frustrated after the game. I'm sure Le'Veon Bell's frustrated after almost getting traded back to Pittsburgh. And Sam Darnold,
what a storyline that would have been.
Bad quarterback. I've heard a lot of talk that there could be potential that they're drafting another quarterback in a very heavy quarterback draft. He wasn't Todd Bowles' pick necessarily. He wasn't the GM's pick. They picked the best available player at that position, and it was Sam, or at the time, and it was Sam. I like Sam. I'm not huge on him, but I think he has potential to be better than what they're giving him, and I don't think they're setting him up for success.
I agree with that. I mean, I just think, like, if you're Adam Gase, how do you not win that game?
Crack eyes.
I'm just saying. No, crack eyes, exactly. But still, if you're Adam Gase, how do you not prepare your team to win that game?
Because they don't have an offensive line that can even handle Miami. Apparently.
Apparently. But I mean, you're moving on from Miami to this year. They're 0-8, 0-7, 0-7. How do you not win that game if you're Adam Gase?
I don't know.
At least beat the team. At least beat the team that you were just on. You know what I mean?
I really think that I don't know. I think Adam Gase has been lucky in his career. I think he got in like a couple really good positions. Like I know he was in Denver with Peyton Manning, which don't pretend like he made Peyton Manning good. Like that's just dumb. And then he had a good year in Chicago with fucking what's his name? I can't even think. It's Smoking Jay Cutler. I think him being labeled as a quarterback whisperer is bullshit. I honestly believe they move on from him in the offseason. You can't lose like that to one, an interconference, fucking division rival, and two, to a team that doesn't have a fucking win yet and was talked about being the worst team, one of the worst teams in history at the beginning.
And his old team, he should have had extra fire to win that game.
He should have. He might have already lost the locker room and it's fucking just at the half-point season.
Yep.
Let's move on here. Redskins 9, Bills 24. The battle of the modern GOAT running back here. Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson going at it. Takeaways from this game, boys. Dwayne Haskins, not what I thought, or not what anyone thought. I'm not big on Ohio State quarterbacks. I wasn't big on him in the draft. And then David Singletary is shorter than I thought.
Devin
Singletary.
Yeah, and I know what you're referencing specifically, and I thought this was a great thing. The two running backs you just talked about, Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore. After the game, Frank Gore goes over to AP, taps him on the shoulder because he knows Devin Singletary wanted to talk to him after the game. Thought it was a really great look. That's also where I found out Devin Singletary is literally like 5'2".
Yeah, he's like 5'7". I think was like when I looked it up.
Yeah, 5'7".
Okay.
But I'm taller than him.
Yeah. Which
is not saying much. Because I'm the smallest person out of the BOTA Cast here, so.
Wow, I actually didn't know that.
Smallest, yeah.
It doesn't show on Skype, you're doing a real good job of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're all sitting, so.
You're doing a real good job.
Not much else to talk about in that game. Moving right along. Titans 20, Panthers 30. I said it last week. You're going to expect Tannehill to slow down, even though he still had 331 through the air. It didn't look great for him. Stat line showing. Kyle Allen, not bad. Not bad, not the answer for Cam Newton issues, I think.
Well, it's not going to matter.
What?
Well, it's not going to matter. I mean, as you must have heard,
Yeah.
They placed Cam Newton
Yeah.
on the IR for the rest of the season. So
He's on
whether
the-
or not he's the answer, he's the answer this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have to be the answer. He's the fill in the blank on this test. Like, there's a random cat walking in the background there.
Yep, that is my cat, Dave. Hi, Dave.
I honestly don't think they hang on to Cam next year. I still don't think Kyle Allen's the guy they're looking for, though. And like I said earlier, it's
Do
a
they go to Will Greer?
draft. What's up?
Do they go to Will Greer?
I forgot Will Greer's on that team. I still don't think they go to Will Greer. I wouldn't go
give
to
him a
Will
chance.
Greer.
I
No.
like
Don't even try to sell me on Will Greer and his steroided up ass. Christian McCaffrey keeps pushing on his potential, not really, we'll talk about this later, MVP candidacy with 146 yards and 2 TDs, or with 2 TDs on 24 carries. DJ Moore looks solid. I think he got over 100 yards, but I think he would benefit more from a real good QB sitting back there. I think he has a lot of potential as a player.
Absolutely, I agree.
Back to
Rising
Chris
star.
McCaffrey, though. Is he what's making the Panthers' offense look good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cam's so.
Thanks. That was BOTA Cast.
Kyle Allen. So does the quarterback really matter? I mean, it is Kyle Allen. Are we portraying Kyle Allen better as he is because of Christian McCaffrey?
Maybe. There's potential for that. I mean, that's not, but Christian
Well,
McCaffrey.
I think by some stretch, all quarterbacks are kind of a representation of what's around them until they establish, especially young quarterbacks like that.
Yeah.
They kind of have to feed on what they have. If they have a crappy team, they're going to be crappy, unless you're Daniel Jones.
But
and then he's just going to be average.
It's literally owning. I mean, he's doing real well. What did he have? 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean, for what he has.
146 yards with 24 carries.
Yeah. And how many, that's a lot.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing it.
That's just he's taking the brute force of the offense. I think he's the biggest part of that offense. So really, Kyle,
with what you're saying, I think I can build off this. I think the reason Christian McCaffrey should be considered higher as an MVP, and like I said, we'll talk about this later on with a poll. MVP stands for most valuable player, meaning on maybe as a whole, but to the most valuable player on the fucking Panthers team, it's Christian McCaffrey, who has somehow took that entire team on his shoulders and carried them as far as he fucking could, win or lose. Mm-hmm. But we're going to keep it rolling. Got to keep it right along. Lions 24, Raiders 31. Matthew Stafford having a career year. Today he hit Sunday he hit 406, 3 touchdowns and an interception. On the other side of that, Josh Jacobs seems like the entire Raiders offense. Drew, how are you feeling as a Packers fan with the Lions kind of smelling up there?
I mean, it's nice to see. It's something that we're used to. Mm-hmm. It was weird to see them have hope, to be honest. It was kind of cool to have them be a contender for a while, though. I'm disappointed. Honestly, they should have beaten the Packers. But the Trey Flowers penalties and everything.
It happens.
So it's a little disappointing to see them lose games in that fashion, and that kind of killed their momentum.
Right.
But yeah, I think they have a good excited for the future. If not, they're.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think they're setting up well. We'll see how many years Matthew Stafford can keep this going. Like I said, I mean, Derek Carr had a solid game, but Josh Jacobs, man, easily my pick for Rookie of the Year, without a doubt.
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
It was a steal in the draft. Part of the reason I wrote a blog about him deciding to, or him kind of deciding the Mac trade as of this year, being like, it kind of seems like the Lions or the Raiders might have won that trade. But time will tell on that one for sure. Let's move on to one of my favorite subjects, and that's shitting on Jameis Winston. The Bucks 34, the Seahawks 40 in an overtime winner. Seahawks kicker missed 3 fucking kicks between extra points and field goals. And the Bucks could have capitalized if Jameis Winston wasn't so bad. Like, when you look at him on paper, it's like, oh, shit, like, Jameis had a good game. If you watch him and just fucking see what he does out there, you really realize how bad he
Remember when
actually
Andy's-
is.
Andy's
How
still
he
use guys.
recovers.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
God.
Oh
this
yeah,
is-
the eating the dub.
Yeah, eating the dub. You remember that? Oh
You
god,
can't
that
go
was
to someone
so
else's
bad.
house and fucking do that. Chris,
That
how you
was
feeling about
so
the Bucks?
bad. Oh my god.
Chris, how you feeling about the Bucks?
They're a lost cause. Come on. What did Zach say last week? Winston's gonna get cut, and he's gonna go steal crab legs in Miami again. That's what's
Yep.
gonna happen.
I could see Jameis Winston ending up in Miami.
The problem is
God.
they have so
It's
many.
not that far off.
That's bad for everybody.
No
I
kidding.
really hate to see the Bucks like that, though. They have a lot of good receivers.
They have a lot of great talent.
They
They've
do.
done a great job
They
drafting.
do.
They
They have two really good receivers. I mean,
It's bad over there. Come on. I mean, truthfully, Winston. Yeah, he gets points on the board, but
barely.
that's the thing. And you have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. It's when you have two. I'd call Godwin an elite receiver. Would you?
I don't know if I'm ready to give that tag. to him.
I think he benefits a lot from Mike Evans being there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Point is, he can
Chris
catch
Godwin's very good, but not
very
elite.
good.
He's
Well,
an
you-
elite
good.
receiver,
When you-
maybe.
Very good receiver, and then Mike Evans, who would you call Mike Evans an elite receiver?
I call him a top
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
10, yeah.
Top tier?
Top 10.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. I would go top 10. I was gonna say maybe
Absolutely.
possibly top 5. But
That's
I
hard.
give him like a 6 or 7.
yeah.
Moving,
He
moving
has-
along.
Yep.
We're not going to talk about the Bucks that much more because I'll just go into a whole Jameis Winston rant.
No, that's
Uh,
fine. I was just gonna say Mike Evans has the physical attributes to be a top 5 wide receiver.
Can we
but-
talk about how it took the Seahawks overtime to beat the Bucks, though?
That is a weird thing. That is actually a good point I didn't think of.
Yeah.
The
That
Bucks
was
were
pretty
winning
much-
for a long time.
They
They
were.
had the
Well,
lead.
I was watching part of the game because my girlfriend actually does she does betting, underground betting or whatever. I don't know what it's called. But she picked the Seahawks this week for her game. But she's got 60 grand on the line. Good for her for that win. I don't know. I just took interest in that game.
What the fuck are you
Now you
getting
have
to
to
the
expand.
6 grand on the
Break this out.
line? Fucking, why aren't they funding
My whole
us?
family does a thing, and don't worry about it.
Girlfriend a degenerate gambler?
No, my girlfriend's a degenerate gambler. She has
It
fixed on
fucking sounds
games.
like it. She's putting up
Underground
60K.
betting.
Underground gambling for 60 grand?
Was your
That's
first
the
game
deal,
to a
dude. If she wins the
top
pool, she gets 60 G's.
What the fuck? All right. Anyway,
The whole can of worms.
Packers 11, Chargers 26. Aaron Rodgers a flat day through the air. First off, I'd like to say thank you to Melvin Gordon and Anthony Lynn for both listening to the podcast. As after I apologized for saying Melvin Gordon was a good fantasy take, he got 80 yards and 2 touchdowns, although mostly on the goal line. Still counts in fantasy. Eckler still had 70 yards rushing on the day, which is fantastic. So having that dual threat. And Drew, would you like to say anything to Chris about last week?
No. No.
No, you're good.
I'm defending Drew to the death on this one. Just because
I mean-
he has a bad week doesn't mean he's going to drop off.
No, it's fine. I mean, like, the Chargers had Derwin James out there, right? So it was like, it was reasonable they didn't have a good air game.
Yeah, fair. I mean, the
He's on the
Chargers
injured
pass
reserve.
defense isn't their weakness, per se.
Don't forget, Devontae Adams is not playing still. So
Just
their
remember
top wide
that
receiver
I
is
might
gone.
be
Hey,
No, he played.
I
Adams
mean-
played.
No, he didn't. He didn't play last week.
Devontae Adams played, didn't he?
No, he played.
He played.
Yeah, I think that's what threw the offense off, to be honest with you.
Is Devontae Adams bad for the Packers?
No. I think reincorporating Devontae Adams into the offense again is going to take a week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Fair
because
enough, fair
they
enough.
haven't levitated around
All
him.
right.
I mean, getting the ball to him.
Rolling along into me spiraling into depression. The Browns lost a must-win to the Broncos. I got to say, my boy didn't look awful. He didn't throw an interception. I really think this one came down to the defense missing a lot of tackles, as we saw their defensive back Whiteside going after anyone that tweeted at him, kindergartners and all, calling him crackers, telling him to fight him on Twitter after the game, getting cut shortly after on Monday. Freddie Kitchens not using Chubb. Like, if you have a top 5 running back, here's my thing. You have a top 5 running back. How do you not put him in on 4th and 1? Even if you're not going to run him, just how do you not put Chubb on the fucking field? I don't understand that at all.
Listen, I'm with you, big boy. I feel for you. My heart goes out to you and all of Browns Nation because you literally hired Freddie fucking Kitchens. Like,
yeah. Hey, man, I had a whole post about this, too. There was a whole rumor about...
My guy. He didn't even call his own plays last year.
Yeah, there's a whole thing coming out that he was the one calling the plays. And
yeah. Even for the offensive coordinator, he wasn't the one calling the plays. Sorry, finish that. I want to hear what you have to say, James.
So, another thing that's been the issue all year is the Browns haven't been able to capitalize in the red zone. I mean, I looked at one point, it was 12 to something. I think it was 12-18. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, we just didn't get a couple extra points. And then it turns out that Austin Seibert just nailing field goals in the red zone, which is not what you want. I mean, it's great that we have a reliable kicker. It's not great that you have to rely on him that much in the red zone with that much talent around him.
True.
Away from that, give the Broncos some credit. They put a rookie in there. I can't remember his name. Did a great job.
Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen?
Brandon Allen.
Another Allen.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was the week of the Allens. That's right.
Three
Allens.
I have no idea where he came from.
No, they drafted someone. They drafted another quarterback.
They drafted Drew Lock.
Drew Lock is out, or he might be back this week, but I don't know.
Right. I forget that. Yeah.
Noah Fant though, 3 receptions, 150 yards, and a touchdown. He looked really good. Part of that Iowa tight end factory I was talking about before. Even still, missed tackling has a lot to do with that. You can't. You have to wrap up. It's just the game.
Tackling is a lost art at this point.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
It's sad to watch, honestly, at times.
You're
You're fucking telling me.
It's horrible.
It's just spiraling alcoholism that's coming from this. All right. Speaking of, the Pats season and potentially their dynasty might be over. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Ravens 37-20. Lamar Jackson absolutely abused Tom Brady and the Patriots defense. Tom Brady was a separate side of the ball we'll talk about, but the read option was getting smacked around there. Guys, how do we feel about Harbaugh? Like, he really showed why he's the better coach in this situation.
I mean, I'd have to agree with you, honestly, that I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Chris's face, and unfortunately, Chris, we're right, but
you think
I thought Harbaugh had a really good game plan. He probably studied, honestly, Super Bowl 52. He probably took a book out of the Eagles or Doug Peterson's.
Honestly, I mean, hey, if it works,
when you have a quarterback that can run the ball and do read option and RPO and stuff like that.
But then, like, you look at the other side of the ball with the Patriots, and like, how do you deal with that? I mean, it really kind of showed like aspects of why Tom Brady is a system quarterback.
Yeah.
You're asking for it, dude. You're asking for it.
What do you mean?
I back down just to punch you in the nose.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, honestly, James, I have to agree with you. I mean, it's kind of like Kansas City. Same thing for me, except obviously
right. And
Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady overall.
But it also might come down to coaching. I mean, does this hurt Bill Belichick as not being the greatest coach and kind of falling behind Tom Landry, you guys think, or what?
I really think this game has put a really big hole in.
I'm signing out here. I'll talk to you guys later.
Should we call it there?
No, we can keep going.
All right.
Let me chime in. Yeah, the Pats did not have a great game. Lamar Jackson abused the defense, like you just said, and it was impressive.
Lamar Jackson, Tyreek.
I cannot wait to watch him for the rest of the season. Playoffs, honestly. He's a good...
I think the only two people that heard me are the ones currently about to sorry. Anyways, continue.
Hey, is this a national holiday that happens like 3 times a month?
No, but it is a segment, ladies and gentlemen. Today's hidden segment was Trigger Warning. It took Chris 1:47, under 2 minutes to get Chris triggered about the Patriots.
No, you missed it. You missed it, James. The minute you started the segment, he went,
No, I saw it. I was waiting for like a serious thing, and I got a minute 47 out of it before I
That's
got.
not bad. That's pretty good.
You know, I'm happy to get it sub 2. We'll keep trigger warning going. We'll
Yeah, I like that. It's a nice little hidden thing we can add in. Keeps everybody on their toes. James and I talked about that before the podcast. Thought it'd be a great idea to get Chris going because Chris definitely has his New England Patriots bias. I love the Pats, but when it comes down to it, I can be unbiased on them.
Chris is absolutely our Boston
Super
sports guy.
unbiased. What are you talking about?
Chris, you looked like your head was about to pop off after
I just
he
said
said
Lamar Jackson owned the whole team. I was talking about this with James. I watched the game with James.
Fair.
Chris, we just wanted to get a good laugh in here. You're fine, big boy. It's okay.
Yeah. So let's go into the actual notes about this game. I mean, the read option was a thing.
RPO was heavy in this game.
Yeah, Sony Michel not being able to get it on going through the ground this year, not just this game, has been hurting them tremendously.
Yeah, and it just goes to my point where I wasn't really sure on Sony last year, and he did have a really good good postseason, but I really think it was a product of the offensive line. And I know I've said this before, but they've had so many injuries to the offensive line, so many moving parts. They're not going to be able to establish a good run game. I just don't think their O-line is confident in their ability to block.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having problems in the passing game too with that. But I mean,
yep.
It's really prevalent if you're too nervous or you're not confident enough in your ability to block upfield, you're gonna want to step back. You know what I mean? So
for sure. Do you think they needed this loss? I mean, it's great being undefeated. Don't get me wrong, but do you think they needed this loss to kind of regroup and see where they're actually at? Because to this point, they've played not strong talent, but like not really great talent either. They played very middle of the road kind of teams, and I feel like this kind of sets them like, all right, this is where we're actually at, and like at the halfway point, like here we go. They're going into a bye week. Right. They can restructure. They can keep going and crush.
That's
right.
The thing about the Pats, I would. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, the offenses that they've played, have really not been that great. You'd have teams like Washington, the Jets, the Dolphins. I mean, they're all just terrible.
I was gonna say, you said middle of the road teams, James. I disagree with. They've played literal bottom of the barrel teams.
Offenses.
That's fair.
There are the Vikings. The Giants' defense was really not that bad against them. The Jets' defense before all that whole debacle was okay.
But look at the records of the teams that they've played.
Right, I understand the records, but I mean, did you think the Steelers were going to be like this at the beginning of the year?
No,
that was
they are.
They are, but that was a really good win at home
to start it off.
Yeah. So I mean, they've played middle to bottom pack teams so far. Their defense has been really good. I just think they haven't, until the Ravens game, they hadn't played a really high-powered offense. It exposed their defense, and I think it's good for them to know what parts of their defense they need to work on. I obviously didn't want them to lose. I thought they were going to lose because I still think they didn't have they weren't tested
for sure.
At all through the first 8 games. They're 8-1. Like, am I worried? Hell no. I'm not worried at all.
Especially with the Chiefs are behind and the Ravens being the second seed as it looks right.
And not that I would ever think the Bills would run the table, but the Bills have a really easy schedule, coming up. They have a really easy schedule coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna test this Josh Allen phase real soon.
The next 5, I think it's the next 5 out of 6 teams are under 500.
All right. Let's keep talking about the Ravens a little bit here because we've talked a lot about the Patriots. I honestly did not think Ingram was going to be this good going into it. Going into the season.
Their defense legit. They can pull it off.
Oh, I think we lost Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Wait.
No, I'm here.
Okay, you're here. Good.
Yeah.
What were you saying there, Zach?
Well, I was just saying that sitting at what are they at 6-2 now? They're a legitimate team. I mean, they really have a good chance for the playoffs. And that's one thing to watch out because if they win this week, they're only a game behind the Patriots for the division, which is insane to think about right now.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's true.
So Mark Ingram, though, as you started with,
yeah,
Against the Pats, he was finding pockets like nothing really. I thought he looked awesome.
Well, I think that goes back to how good Lamar is too. Like I said, they were using the read option a lot, and he was able to look where those linebackers are coming in on and really adjust well.
One, Lamar. Two, that offensive line really held that defensive line pretty well. They were pushing pockets open a good amount of times.
Oh, absolutely. Another point I wanted to make is I think Marquise Brown is going to be the next star. I think he's the next NFL receiver guy. Like that kid's really good. I loved him in Oklahoma.
Very good. He has the ability to take the top off of defense. That's for sure. The kid's got speed. He's got pretty good hands. I think he's pretty good at the jump ball too. So, All
right, let's go to our last game, the Kitty game, ladies and gentlemen. Infamous. Cowboys 37, Giants 18, Monday night. This one I wrote down as battle of two of the best RBs, running backs in our generation with Zeke and Saquon. Given Saquon only has 1 year, they were able to slow down Saquon, which was kind of weird, especially without Leighton Vander Esch mixed in there. They're kind of leading. They're not kind of their leading linebacker. Daniel Jones kind of made up for that on the ground, which is a weird thing to say. He actually, I think, led them in rushing and was surprisingly agile, which is creepy, crazy.
He's a quick dude.
He's quick.
I didn't really peg him for that kind of athletic type, but
I
think very forward in the rushing yards. That's just interesting. That's an interesting stat.
You saw it a bit in college, but no one really watched Duke games, I guess, unless you're really into it. The one game I want to tie it back to was the year before he got drafted. I think they played West Virginia, and it was their only big game of the year, and they got smacked around, and he got smacked around. So it kind of shows Daniel Jones not being good in big situations, and I think this is one of those situations where you get a big win against a conference rival, and you can move up. And you didn't really do anything. Kind of sputtered.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a chance early on in the game, and then, bizarrely enough, that's when the Black Cat came in.
Yeah.
If you look at the splits before the Black Cat and after the Black Cat, it's Dallas really put it together after that cat came on the field. I don't know if it was bad luck for the Giants, but sure seemed like it.
And the Bruins just scored to take the lead 5-4 over Montreal, boys and girls.
That we'll talk about this a little bit later, but the college football playoff rankings are out. I am very excited. As you just heard me clap when we were talking about the Pats still.
Oh, yes.
Very pumped to talk about this. James is a college football genius. Let's keep it moving on to Week 10, though. So, Week 10, right off the bat, we got a lot of conference area. I keep saying conference, but division rivals. Chargers-Raiders kick it off on Thursday night. The Chargers kind of really need this push to stay in the race, in the hunt. The Raiders still going to rely on Jacobs. We'll see what they can do against that defense. How you guys feeling on this one?
With the Chargers defense that just shut down Aaron Jones pretty well, I think it might be a real task for Jacobs to get going. But they should be able to spread it out. Hopefully the Raiders can get some kind of passing attack going. They do have most of their weapons back and rolling now. But Derek Carr is Derek Carr. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the key to stopping the Raiders just make Derek Carr throw the ball? Make him actually play quarterback?
I think they are less effective in that situation, yes.
I'm actually going to chime in here real quick because we all know the Chargers just beat the Packers. But the spread for this game is only 1 at the moment.
Really?
The Chargers are only favored by 1 against the Raiders.
Yeah, the Raiders have been playing pretty well. So, I can see where it would be 1. They're both, middle of the pack, 4 and whatever.
The Raiders are 4-4, I believe, and I believe the Chargers are 4-5. So
yeah,
they're both middle of the pack teams. Impressive win over the Packers last week, but I feel like the Chargers don't have enough when it comes to a surprisingly decent Oakland defense, which is weird for me to say because they traded their best defensive player last year.
Well, they used some of those picks to grab some people. They don't even have their full defense out there yet. Some of those players haven't even played yet.
Also, I alluded to it earlier, but where is Derwin James? I know he's injured, but I've heard nothing about him coming back.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either. I really couldn't attest to that.
That's a game changer. Like, might give him a late season push, but they need him soon. They're sitting at 4-5. The Raiders are 4-4, and then the Chiefs at 6-3. So maybe they could sneak a wild card spot, but I doubt it. The way the Bills look.
Well, there's 2 wild card spots.
We'll see. We'll see who's playing on Saturday.
True.
Next game on the slate, we've got the Shit Bowl, the Giants and the Jets, Battle of MetLife. Oh man,
who's away? Who's away this week? I'm just curious.
Giants.
Who's away? That's
Giants are the away team.
Giants are considered the away team in their own home ground. Fuck MetLife. That's so.
I've always found that to be really stupid.
Well, we're gonna have that same situation if the Chargers stay in LA long enough to play in Inglewood.
Honestly,
that's fair. And
Very
there
fair.
still won't be any Chargers fans.
Oh, it'll be all Rams fans every time.
Oh yeah. Even for Justin.
Right.
Looking at it, I really think that the Giants win this, although it's not going to be a fantastic game. It's going to be a really awfully played game. I think Daniel Jones leads them to a win. I think this is one of his Eli Manning-esque games where he just kind of pockets up and wins.
I think Saquon goes off this game too. I just feel like the Jets don't have a really good defensive line, and I think they're going to take advantage of that and try to run him as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
next
that's the goal at any point, but especially with the Jets coming up,
Yeah. Next up, Falcons Saints, another interdivision. I don't know who. I mean, you got to take the Saints in this.
Yeah.
The Falcons are
Biggest
still trash. What's up?
Yeah,
Greg?
Biggest spread of the week with 13 towards the Saints.
Ooh, she's dirty.
Like you said,
She's got a big spread.
Come on. The Saints
spread those points, baby.
I think that will
spread.
I think that will hit.
You think it'll hit? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drew Brees is back. Alvin Kamara is supposed to be back this week.
Is Matt
And
Ryan?
that Falcons defense couldn't stop anything. Anything. They are horrible.
Editing.
Yeah.
Anything.
Moving. Ooh. What do you got? Tell me your secrets.
About Matt Ryan?
Yeah. Matty Ice.
This year. He doesn't have it this year. I used to like him. I just don't think he has it this year. And I think
I'm a big BC guy. I want to believe in Matty Ice, but
honestly, I don't think their offense looks that bad. I think it just comes down to the fact that they're giving up like 38 points a game.
Yeah, you can't outscore that much.
They're scoring like 30 some games, but like they're just getting outscored. Point blank.
It's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to do a lot in this draft, but keep it rolling. Chiefs Titans. This could be the game Patrick Mahomes comes back. I think that might be a little too soon for him, if we're gonna be honest. I think you still give him another game's rest, especially with a dislocated knee. That's easy enough to re-injure.
Fair.
What do you guys think?
game?
Go ahead,
Chris?
Do
go
you
ahead.
think it's going to be a close game?
I like this game a lot this week, actually.
I think this will be an interesting game. So the spread, back to spread, is only 3.5 for the Chiefs, which I feel is low because I think the Chiefs, even like we were talking earlier with Matt Moore, is still a good team.
Right.
I feel like the Titans are also a good team.
Oh, sorry. We're recording this Tuesday night, though, and that's still with uncertainty about Pat Mahomes starting.
So Sunday spreads are not an exact, yes.
Yeah.
And
so give us
like
some
you
time.
said, Mahomes could be eligible for Sunday. I mean, he's practicing fully, right?
Yeah, he ran on the field to celebrate,
Yeah,
and he got knocked down by their kicker.
Which I bet you he got reamed for after, but
I don't know. I can kind of understand why they're, what is it, 3.5?
yeah.
I can kind of understand why. Like, it doesn't matter if they're looking good with Matt Moore, or Patrick Mahomes. Vegas probably likes Patrick Mahomes way better than they do Matt Moore. They probably have zero confidence in Matt Moore. So, I mean, you really can't get inside the minds of Vegas people, the Vegas bettors
People,
that
the
much.
damn Vegas people running.
Yeah,
Vegas.
Again, this is why you're the betting person, not me. So
They get one hockey team, and look at them.
not bad.
Absolute shit stomping of the week is going to be Ravens Bengals. Ravens should step into there and just crush. If the Ravens lose this, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely shocked. It's not a situation like the Jets. Like, this is a game that the Ravens should absolutely win.
This isn't the Jets beating the Cowboys. This is.
You could put your punter in at quarterback and be fine.
Yeah,
You could put fucking Justin Tucker in there and just have him kick field goals from wherever.
From wherever, yeah.
Let's talk about this for a quick second, just to divert. I think you could still get like a high pick for Justin Tucker. I think you could trade Justin Tucker for at least like a 2 or a 3.
Justin Tucker?
Yeah.
Maybe a late 3. I don't think.
Well, why are we trading for Justin Tucker?
No, I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, like, if they were going to trade and they needed, like, either a booster or, like, they were trading Justin Tucker for some ungodly reason, he's probably worth about a 2 or a 3.
I'd
A
agree
2
with that.
a 2 to some teams, a 3 to most.
I mean, it depends on how kicker needy they are. To someone like the Patriots right now, it'd be worth like a late first.
Like, and Justin Tucker in the age of the most inconsistent kickers that I've ever seen in my life, this is
right now.
horrendous. You get a guy like Justin Tucker, he is so far and beyond the most accurate kicker now and in NFL history that he's worth that.
Oh, that's got to be
Absolutely.
interference. Come on.
He missed a kick in the Pats game, right? And it was barely missed.
Yeah.
Like, it was over the pole a little bit more to the left.
And
Yeah,
he's
we
missed
haven't
like
even
2 kicks in
focused.
the last 3 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah, and
We
you
haven't
want...
really focused
want
much on that so
reliability.
far, though. But what is up with kicking this year? You
Oh,
almost have
I think
at
for the
least
past few years, Blair Walsh started it.
Oh, God.
The
And that
NFL.
Seahawks playoff game. Oh, God, yes. The 25-yard chip shot that he missed.
Yeah.
But it's been like this, literally, yeah, since Blair Walsh. But we have not, and it just gets worse and worse by the season.
Honestly, it's since they moved the extra point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like really just shaking the kickers to the core. But
Kickers are like closing pitchers or starting pitchers, man. You can't like fuck with their rhythm. Like you can't do that kind of shit to them.
right.
They're crazy.
Is there something the NFL is doing different? I want to figure out what is going on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so what they did
talked
is they
about
moved
changed-
the extra point
Moved
back.
it- yeah.
So
That's what they're
you
doing
can't take 3 steps back anymore? Do you only get 2? Are they not like
No. They literally moved.
thing you
No,
doesn't
like
take?
they took the position of the ball and moved it.
From the 2-yard line to the 15-yard line.
That's what they did.
No, I know that, but they did that last year, not this year. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, it doesn't change anything. How it's gotten
It
worse.
changed
No, but that's what I'm
everything.
saying.
It changed fucking
No, I'm saying
everything.
Everything.
we need more missed kicks this season than last season.
Well, look, what I'm saying is like kickers are a weird breed. Like I said with the starting pitchers, closing
Right.
pitchers, they need to be in that rhythm. You can't fuck with anything.
We're gonna do a segment next week called Chris Investigates, and I'm gonna figure this out.
All right, moving along. Please get on that, Chris. Let's see what happens. Please try to DM every kicker from the BOTA account.
I'm gonna.
Why do you suck?
Hashtag cast money.
At Adam Vinatieri, please answer. Like if for some reason the tweets come out in like crayon, like it's written like that.
Italian Stallion, this is Christopher Cassidy. Why do you suck so much monkey dick?
Hey!
You only get 240 characters. Anyway, Bills and Browns. This one's not a must-win. Nothing's a fucking must-win for us anymore. This one's more of a you gotta win it for confidence. And
Good luck.
if you lose, maybe Freddie's fired finally. Let's hope. That's what I'm
Or
going
maybe they
for.
trade Baker.
Stop it.
Can I ask how he hasn't been fired from last week?
I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. I do not know.
And one more thing for this game. Over is 40.5. I think that will hit.
Under. Under as hell.
Under.
I'll go with the under on that one, actually.
Yeah. I mean, last time that these two teams met, they scored 65 points combined.
I don't think so this time around.
Yeah, this time
the
around,
Bills'
no.
defense is too good for
The
that.
most
sorry,
Their
they're
offensive
playing
thing
the
defense.
about all of us saying this is like the over is gonna fucking hit, and Chris is gonna come in this fucking podcast next week just like, woof, woof, just swinging his dick.
Guys, that's 21-20 score.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb gets 2 touchdowns almost weekly.
You're right. Baker gets 40 points. Nothing but red zone touchdown, baby.
Yeah, Baker's just a god.
Big God. Anyway,
enough already.
What could actually be a very close game, IMO, the Cardinals and Bucks. Cardinals have looked hot. Bucks have looked like trash. This could be the game where Jameis is like, I'm going to play. I'm going to decide to show up and show you why I was a first-round pick. It could also just be the Bucks collapsing. So I don't really know what we're looking at there, honestly, going into it. All right, good input. So moving along. Thanks, guys.
I don't have much to say on that one except Bruce Arians' revenge tour. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there we go. Chris, you got anything? You hiding off screen eating chips again?
I'm eating. Don't mind
They're
me.
actually extra toasty Cheez-Its.
Yeah. Chris finds
those
the
are the
loudest
best.
stuff to chew on.
That's all he ever keeps in his bed.
I mean, honestly,
Yeah, he keeps a box on his bed, I swear.
we were talking a couple weeks ago, I think the first podcast, about how the Cardinals are not terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely better than last season. I think it will be an interesting game to watch, but I don't think it's anything to focus on. I mean,
I think it'll just be entertaining, honestly, if anything.
yeah. It's Tampa Bay, again, I'm just lost at how they have – I really think they have a good team. And then you look at Jameis, and it, like, flattens everything out, I think. But that's my opinion. That's my personal opinion.
I respect
their pass defense needs a lot of work, too. But
yeah. They have a pretty solid defense, but their secondary is god-awful.
Yeah. Exactly.
Linebackers, defensive lines, good enough.
Yeah.
Secondary is trash. Let's keep it rolling. NFC North, we got the Lions and Bears matching up. I don't see any way that the Bears win this game. Yeah, I don't got much else to say about it.
It's going to be an interesting game between two teams that I don't know who's going to win that game, to be honest with you.
Are you serious? You really think Mitch is going to step in there and hit a home run this time?
I don't think it has anything to do with Mitch. I think they can win games without Mitch playing particularly well if the defense plays like it can and they give the ball to Montgomery. And where is Tariq Cohen?
Again,
where did he go?
As bad as the Browns have been, that the Bears are just the 2018 Jaguars.
Literally.
Honestly.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Honestly, fantastic defense, god-awful offense.
Except the Bears don't have the boat like the Jaguars did. Blake Bortles.
Yeah, now the Rams have the boat.
Yeah.
Put him in for my fucking Jared Goff. I'm into it. All right. Dolphins and Colts. We'll see if Jacoby ends up starting this week. There's no way that the Dolphins ride a hot streak into Indianapolis. Actually, I think. Even if you could play Brissett in this one, though, if you're Frank Reich, do you?
No.
Yeah, no, I give him the sit. I honestly give him the rest.
He's playing the Dolphins. Come on.
Yeah,
he'll start as quarterback.
Put Vinatieri as quarterback. Let him get a few hits and then get the blood.
Hey. That guy, how old is Vinatieri now?
45.
Prehistoric.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him throw a football. He can probably throw max 10 yards. He's so old, but just let him kick it to all his players.
That's how Alex Smith had a career until his leg got demolished.
He'll have a Lawrence Taylor style.
Yeah, a la Lawrence Smith. Drew, your Packers are taking on the Panthers this week. How you feeling there?
They should definitely be able to get the run game going. I think Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams both have pretty solid days on the ground. Aaron Jones has a pretty solid day through the air, I think, just based on them getting the ground game going again. The Panthers secondary isn't too bad. And then the defense has to find I don't know what the answer is going to be to Christian McCaffrey.
It's hard to find an answer.
Yeah, they're my defense on
because they can't stop normal running backs. Never mind Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a real deciding factor in the game is whether he has 100 yards on the ground or 300 yards on the ground. So
how many in the hundreds does he get? Rams Steelers next up on the slate. Steelers defense. I think Zach didn't give him credit last week, to be perfectly honest, but they're starting to kind of piece it together. Like I said, Minka's looking solid. TJ's looking great on there, looking like the better Watt. I have a hot take that the Texans should trade J.J. Watt in the offseason, but they're not going to. I wrote that down in like a tired exhaustion. Like
JJ and TJ.
I have to.
No, not trade for him. I think the Texans just trade him altogether because he hasn't fucking played a full season in I don't know how long.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess I didn't really give the Steelers defense much credit. I think, like you said this week, the Minka Fitzpatrick trade really helped them. They do have really good pieces on the defense. They just hadn't gelled together, and I still wasn't willing to give them the credit. But I think, they had a pretty good performance against the Colts last week. And granted, Jacoby Brissett went out, and they had Brian Hoyer playing. So Can I give them full credit? Not really. They still got the win, but
hey man, they got a good young defense. Besides a TJ and Minka, I mean, you got to talk about Devin Bush too. Like that kid's a beast. Like new age linebacker through and through. The dude's quick. He can catch and he can hit hard. Like it's exactly what you want. Very like old school, like you, Miami. Moving along, I know someone has this as the game of the week. Vikings Cowboys. Is that you, Zach?
That's me. Yeah, Vikings boys.
Kirk is bad.
Yeah, back at cornerback.
Wow.
Exactly.
No. I understand. If he's playing quarterback in Pittsburgh, that's fine. I'm just
all
saying.
Right. So the two of us who are related have this as the game of the week. Zach, you put your point out. Chris, you tail.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my game of the week features the two best running backs, I think, in the league, at least this year, in Dalvin Cook and Zeke. I mean, obviously Zeke was suspended, but ever since he's been back, he's been pretty much on a tear. So. I think it'll be good. I mean, both teams have a decent defense, so it'll be interesting to see which running back can really benefit. And another interesting thing I think from this might be Cousins v. Dak. So neither of them are really great quarterbacks, but they've been having, as of late, they've been having decent seasons. I mean, Dak started off way hotter and has kind of fizzled out a little bit. Cousins the opposite, really started off, didn't do too great, and then the past couple weeks has been having a pretty good
I do in fact like that. Chris, state your case.
I just want to see the Cowboys lose.
I mean, that's
the Yankees of the NFL.
It'll be an entertaining game, like Zach said. If Kirk Cousins can find Diggs and Thielen if he plays, I think it will be a really interesting game.
I think they ruled Thielen out for week 10. They did. I was gonna say.
You're right.
Thielen is not playing this week.
Okay, so Diggs.
And that other guy.
Diggs cook.
Diggs.
Right.
Dalvin Cook. We'll see what happens.
They got that other guy too.
And rounding off this week, Monday Night Football, my game of the week. I stole this one out from everyone. Seahawks 49ers. The NFC West is fun. This is going to be a shootout, I hope, or it's going to be a test to show that maybe Jimmy Garoppolo's not that good. Oops. But we'll see. See if Russell Wilson MVP tour.
Here's my question to you. Where are they playing?
Dude, yeah.
In San
it is the Seahawks at San Francisco.
So they're playing a Candlestick.
They're playing in Levi.
They're playing in San Francisco. San Francisco takes this game.
Really?
I think this is the series we'll see this season. That's the home and home. I think the Seahawks will win the game against them at home, and I think the 49ers will win their game against the Seahawks at home.
I have a hard time arguing that. Both of them, I guess, have a pretty solid home field advantage. I mean, that's after seeing the 0-8 Niners last year. Or 2 years ago, I can't remember what that was. Like barely selling out the stadium. They're packing that shit in now.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the teams where you should be able to do that. I mean, I understand they've had a pretty rough couple of last years, but I mean, they were the team of the 90s. They were the team of the 80s. You know what I mean? They were the team of the 80s. So they still have stake. They still have brand. It's really it's at least it's good that they're a good team this year. You know what I mean? At least for the NFL.
Same thing like the brand for sure.
Yeah.
The NFL is better when like the old school teams are good. Like when the Cowboys, as much as I hate it, are good, or when like
Raiders.
the Raiders, the fucking Niners, the Packers, like it's good when they're good.
Yeah.
Mitch
It'd be
Trubisky's
better if everyone was good.
True.
Yeah, it'd be better
But
if everyone was good.
if you'd rather
But
have
we
a
do
league
need a
where
Miami, Washington.
Raiders, Packers, Vikings, Chiefs, all of them are good, or would you rather have a league where it's Panthers, Buccaneers,
Jaguars,
Cardinals?
Yeah,
Like,
fair.
come on.
Fair.
If you're the NFL, you want big names. If you have smaller teams that are not good, like smaller markets, that's the point. Glendale, Arizona, not a good market, very small.
No. Very small. I'm gonna ignore the sexual innuendos there. So that's our recap that's our preview for Week 10. Quick little storyline that kept popping up this week: the Chargers relocation.
Yes.
Beginning, it seemed like they were talking like, oh, maybe St. Louis, and I think like St. Louis was pumped about that. Like, yeah, fuck it, give us that. We lost the Rams, like we want a team back. And then all of a sudden, it was like jolly old London wants the Chargers, and I don't think that works. I'm not a big fan of sending a team to London. I think sending a team to Canada or Mexico makes
Logistically,
I
it
know,
just
it doesn't make sense.
doesn't work.
Right. I mean, he's right. It's way too much
Granted.
travel, too much planning involved. I mean, basically, and not only that, you're basically having an entire 53-man roster plus practice squad living somewhere in London. Where are they gonna live? I mean,
Well, they could live in the suburbs. They'll find a spot to live. But where are they really gonna play? Where are they gonna practice?
I know.
Where are they gonna?
Yeah.
Most likely they'd be playing at Wembley, but
I mean, they do have soccer stadiums there, Drew. So
Right,
there are
but
other teams. There are
there are
sports
soccer
happening.
teams that play at these soccer stadiums too.
as well, like 24/7, like they will play.
It's not even.
regardless of
It
weather.
all falls back to
How long soccer been around?
regular schedule in London would be so hard. Then plus, come off season, everyone's gonna go
Ugh.
back to the States.
They'd have to fly back and forth between here and London 8 times a year.
Not only that, every game that they played at home would be literally like 9:15.
Right. All their home
if
is
they-
ridiculous.
If they played on a Monday night, or no, excuse me, any team that comes to them on a Thursday night that either is not coming off the bye or played a game on Sunday is royally fucked. Think about Monday. They have a day to travel. They get there Tuesday.
I was gonna say, yeah. Think if
Jet
they have
lag.
like a short week to travel, and they have to go over to the West Coast.
Yeah.
That's awful. Your
Right.
team's spent. There's no way you're playing well.
That's-
And you can't have every time a team goes to London, they can't have a bye the week after. That would
that's
just
not
be
how
too
it
much.
works.
Yeah.
That's how they did it this year with the London games, but they only had 3 of them.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're trying to make it as
I
fair
like
as
waking up to
possible. but
football.
Right.
The
Actually, I
teams
say
are not
that.
the ones
I kinda like
saying,
waking up
"Oh,
to
let's
football.
play in
There's
this
only,
market."
like,
NFL
one
is the
night off.
marketing that for them, so it's
Yeah.
fair if the NFL schedules them like that. So I can see that.
All right. We're gonna keep moving along because that was, however that was a false rumor, as the Chargers spat that one out real quick. Let's talk a little college football, boys. Let's discuss. I didn't really get into many games this week, but the biggest news was Florida State finally firing Willie Taggart, which sucks for them because it costs them about $20 million over the next 2 years, I think. But it's a
Well,
good
they're just
move
eating up his
overall.
contract, right?
What's up?
They're just eating up his contract.
Yeah, just devouring that fat amount. It sucks. But Florida State's been a shit show program for the past few years. They haven't been able to put it back together like the U has
Since Jameis left.
since Jameis left, honestly. It's been about that since the undefeated season. It's been bad. It's been bad. They've gone through coaches. I didn't think Willie was necessarily the answer to get them to the college football playoff. But they need a lot. They need a lot more to get them there. They produce some good players, some really high draft picks, but yeah, they need success in the school now, not necessarily after. And speaking of the college football playoffs, your boy's a genius. Latest rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go right down what we got here. Ohio State has the #1 spot. LSU takes 2. Alabama takes 3. Ladies and gentlemen, falling out of the 5, Clemson, and #4 is Penn State. That sounds like a fantastic slate of games. I love that. I love every single matchup there. I want that right now. Feed me. Especially with LSU Alabama around the corner.
Well, you would think with that game, one of them would fall out of the top 4, right?
Realistically, one of them might fall out of the top 4. I mean, but still strength of schedule favors that. So maybe not, maybe they slide, but a couple wins can pull them right back in it. That's the benefit of the SEC.
True.
So we're gonna leave that there because I know you guys aren't necessarily big college guys. Let's move into something you are into. Zach, talk to me about some NHL.
Awesome.
So,
as most of you have probably noticed throughout this entire podcast, I've been looking up. The Bruins are on right now. They were up 5-4, got a goal overturned, and now it is 5-4 Montreal. They have about 58 seconds left, empty net. If they score, you'll see. If they don't, you'll also see it on my face. NHL's been pretty great. I mean, as a Bruins fan, it's been fantastic. The Bruins are an actual buzzsaw right now. They're just cutting through teams left and right. They're losing this game right now, but at any moment they could score and tie the game. They've scored. They've received points in, I believe, 9 of their last 10 games.
Here it is. It's here.
Oh, so yeah, I know it was pretty close. But anyways,
looked up. You were looking for God.
Yeah, I know. We probably have the game on at the same time, but
yeah, romantic.
No, they had a decent game last night. They made a ton of mistakes in the second period, and ended up going down 4-3 at the end of the second. But they held strong. They tied the game up. Marchand scores the game-winning goal towards the end of the period, and then they scored an empty netter as well. So, yeah, they've been pretty good. I would say the Capitals are also flying pretty high. They've had a good stretch of games. I believe they have points in their last 6 games. I wrote about this in the article. I think that Braden Holtby's finally stepping up this year again. He had his ups and downs last year, especially during the playoffs. But they seem like they're doing okay right now. Jakub Vrana has a hat trick, his first career hat trick. And Alex Ovechkin, again, just continues to score from his location on the power play. So,
yeah.
What else do I have here? The Sharks and the Wild in the Western Conference. I don't know what's going on with the Sharks. It's really interesting. They just can't seem to find a way to win. They really don't have any answers right now.
I mean, they thought that could be there. I mean,
well, no, the talent is there, and they were in the Western Conference Finals last year. They took the Blues to 7, right? Yeah, they took the Blues to 7. I mean, I think it's just a matter of they're just not gelling.
Depth, but
they also lost. And another big point for me is they lost their captain. Joe Pavelski is on the Stars now. I mean, they haven't had a suitable captain. I mean, when Joe Pavelski took over, they really rallied around him. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I just think there's a certain spot for someone that needs to take over, and I just think Joe Thornton doesn't want it anymore. He's too old. Patrick Marleau was off the team last year and came back in. He wasn't part of that culture, so they don't trust him as much. And where's Brent Burns? Why isn't Brent Burns taking that role? You know what I mean? So I just think they have some issues that they need to work out as a group. They haven't so far. So. And another thing, the Wild, I'm really surprised. Devin Dubnyk usually every year he starts off solid, but he's just been atrocious this year. Their defense has been terrible. Zach Parise is a -12 on the year so far. So, I mean, their top players are out there and making losing plays, basically. I mean, if you have a -12, you're out there for 12 more goals than you are when you're scored. So it just seems bizarre to me to see such high caliber players having such a low plus-minus.
Fair.
Yeah.
The depressing thing to me, I mean, the Bruins, as we're recording this, just lost. But I've talked about this multiple times. When you have like 5 different sports apps on your phone, all telling you your team lost, really, really just puts a damper on the end of your fucking day.
That's fair. I mean, tough loss for the Bruins, but this was a back-to-back, and they had to fly up to Montreal. And they really did stay in the game the entire time. They made a few mistakes that cost them probably. But, in the grand scheme of things, they're now 11-2-2. They still have the best record in the NHL. I'm not worried. I still think they'll make the playoffs. Big whoop. 1 game out of 82. Sucks that it was against the Canadiens. Wish they could have won that game. But
Always
that
want to
just
see that win.
that just gives them a little feel for next time, knowing that they weren't at 100%. And when they are and they play the Canadians again, I'm sure it'll be a lot better.
Should be. All right, next segment. My sweet stoned boy Drew is going to talk to us about some baseball. We've got recently, actually today, came out that they want to start using an automated strike zone. We're getting into that. We'll talk some free agent window that's going to lead to the steamiest hot stove we've seen after last year's really boring hot stove. Yeah, you like that. Drew, how are we feeling? Actually, boys, in general, how are we feeling about this automated strike zone situation?
I like it and I don't like it. I like that you'd finally have consistency. I'd like that you'd have a defined strike zone 100% of the time. That's appealing. But then you're also taking the human aspect of umpiring out of the game. I feel like that's always been part of the game. Each umpire has their own strike zone to a degree with, little differences here and there. And that's part of the game. But then you see some of the umpiring from even like the World Series, the last game. Some of the strikes that they're calling are just not strikes.
Not great.
Not even close.
They're not close.
It's really, really tough to watch. I mean, we watched Game 7, and there were a couple of throws in there, a couple pitches in there. We were just like, oh, my Lord. What are they looking at?
I saw those, too. And, I think it's a good and a bad thing. They're going to try it in the minor leagues first, right?
I would hope so.
Sure.
Well,
listen,
no, it's already said they're going to definitely do it there. I just don't know when, if it's next season.
They said they're going to start unrolling methods in 2020. So,
I really,
good old Rob.
I think what they should do is instead of implementing an automatic pitch. What was it called?
It's the same. It would probably be the same things that they have, on the broadcasts. They show the pitch and where it goes, and if it was in the strike zone, it's a strike.
Exact same, yeah.
I feel like they should be able to utilize it. However, it shouldn't be every single pitch. It should just be kind of like a coach's challenge thing. It's there if the coach
and then the coach. All right, but I feel like the coach's
strike.
challenge, it needs to be quick and concise.
Correct.
Challenge the play, put it up on the big screen in center field, and look at it.
Yeah.
Don't
right.
Put on a headset. Don't go under a hood. It's easy. It's either a strike or it's not, and we can all see.
Right. That's the point. Is that if you're using it like that, and you can use it for a coach's challenge, you go in. If it is a strike, call it a strike. Call it a no, whatever. I just feel like it should be used for a very important.
I also think there's too much that goes
strikeouts.
on in a pitch sometimes. If there's runners on base, if there's different situations happen where you can't always challenge a strike call like that.
Yeah.
What if the umpire calls a strike that the catcher dropped and a runner advanced on, but then you challenge it and it's a ball, so he doesn't get the strike? What happens to the runner on base? There's a whole bunch of different.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I feel like you should only be granted a certain number of coaches' challenges, right? I think that they're only allowed a certain number in baseball. I know they are in hockey and football, obviously, but maybe they one pitch a game that they can challenge. One pitch.
I think that's asinine.
I'm just saying that's an option.
You can't limit it that hard.
So. But that's the point then.
I think if there are any egregious pitches that occur, I think there should be someone reviewing every pitch and saying, they should have official scorer reviews.
Yeah.
So if the umpire makes a call and it's like, whoa, dude, that's not a strike. What are you talking about? Someone should be able to say, no, that's a ball.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
I don't think you should have to challenge it.
Right. I mean, I understand it's part of the game, but it really leaves a lot.
Way too much
at the
Yeah.
Hold on. All right, let's let Chris get some input here between
So it goes back. I'm with Drew here because there's also, you have less room for human error, but umps have discretion, and you need to. If you're pinning a fastball in the top corner, it could be a strike for one ump, a ball for another. Plus, you have to take into the size of the players. The arm reach, how are they going to do that on automated? If you have a 5'3" player,
well, you just adjust the size of the. like they do
Yeah,
on
beat
those.
out.
They have
Eco
technology to
strikes.
do everything.
But it's still like the ump. I feel like a human ump just sees, they have discretion there compared to an automatic strike zone.
Yeah.
You don't have discretion. A ball and a strike.
Well, see, I don't think there should be any discretion in calling balls and strikes. They're either balls or they're strikes. I don't think you should be like, well, it could be a strike if the guy was, a little bit taller. I don't think there should be any discretion or thought about it that way.
Not like that. Like pinning a corner. If I pin a corner with the curved ball, right?
Right.
That is half and half. You calling that a strike or a ball? Half inside, half in the zone, half out of the zone.
Touches.
It's a strike.
It's a strike.
Right. So now in some cases an ump will call that a ball.
Right. That's again just the human, and I don't think having a human aspect is any benefit. I think it's just tradition.
Yeah. Baseball is a
you're
sport
calling
that's
it
very
tradition.
rooted
Yeah,
in tradition.
yeah.
I think it would be more beneficial to have a consistent, accurate strike zone 100% of the time.
I mean,
But I'd miss an umpire standing behind home plate.
yeah,
It would be weird. It'd look weird.
It would be weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the umpire would still. I understand calling balls and strikes is the initial. It's the most important thing that an umpire does. But there's other things that umpires do behind.
So what's the home plate umpire gonna do other than
Right.
just
Throw the
sit
ball
over,
back.
lean on the backstop and hang out, just chill?
All right, let's wheel it in here. We've talked about this long enough.
Fair.
Yeah.
Let's get into free agents because Jesus
Yes.
Christ, I did not expect that to take off that damn much. Goddamn discretion. Let's talk some free agents. Number one on I think everyone's list has got to be Garrett Cole.
100%.
It's like who want to write out? Anthony Rendon's up there too. Strasburg.
Yep.
Zach Wheeler's on that list. Mad Bum. Yasmani Grandal. Josh Donaldson's up there. Hyun-Jin Ryu. I'm not gonna pretend like I understand how to say that, but he's up there. There's a ton of big names this offseason that are looking to get paid.
And they are going to, without
They're
a
going
doubt.
to.
Especially number one, Garrett Cole.
Yeah, Garrett Cole's money.
I think he walks over to the Los Angeles Angels and collects a boatload of money.
Oh, really?
A fuck ton. An absolute fuck ton.
Yes.
If he's only
But
going into his age 29, age 30 season, like
29.
he's still got a few more years onto that. He can get paid for those. He should.
yeah. He will, for sure. And I like the Angels as a landing spot for him. Anthony Rendon is another interesting name. I can't see him leaving Washington.
I'd be shocked.
I think he is the guy that they build their team around for the next decade.
At age 29.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Maybe
But-
7 years.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like 10 years excessive, but I could see him being a veteran player with that team. I get that for sure.
Yeah,
hard
5 to
to
7
value
years is a core veteran.
Yeah,
I just want to point out that he looks like Serge from System of a Down, but
He does with that
Yeah.
that Fu Manchu goatee
Yeah.
thing. Yes.
and
fantastic.
then another a shocking one to me was Strasburg opting out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How long before he gets signed by the Yankees?
Oh, I hope a long, long time.
I hope so too, but
I hope it never comes to that. I love Steven Strasburg, and it would break my heart to see him go to the Yankees.
To see him go to the Yanks.
Oh, I would. Oh my God, please, God, no.
I'm interested. So JD did not opt out, so he's back
Yeah,
on the Red Sox.
Which
Right.
means some very interesting things for Mookie Betts, which I
hate-
don't like.
Yeah, I can't stand
We've
that. I
talked
want
about
Mookie
this.
on that team.
I-
I don't want him anywhere other than the Sox.
Right.
Mookie Betts is the best developed Sox player since fucking Carl Yastrzemski. You can't fucking trade
Mookie
him.
Betts is arguably the best player in the league right now.
Yeah,
You can't lose him.
you can't.
Exactly.
You gotta find some other way.
Exactly.
Release JD Martinez. Fuck his opt-in whatever bullshit. Pay him his money and say go away. I'll take Mookie over JD all day, every day.
Every day. I'd rather
I
have
think
an
we're all on the
outfield
same
with
page
a
with
Gold
that.
Glove and all that over a DH.
Oh, especially with the Gold Glove this year. That's a good ass point.
Yeah, and he's always been the best defensive right fielder in the league since he started.
Mm-hmm.
He's unreal.
Dude can throw, he can catch, he covers ground. Like
He's a
you
5-tool player.
Yeah,
Straight up.
want.
You can hit the
What
damn
more
ball.
do you fucking want? You can't put JD in right field and make it happen.
Right. Not like Mookie.
No.
Especially not in Fenway Park.
No.
That right field is.
The name that pops out to me is Mad Bum. I'm interested to see where he ends up. I know he's not.
I think he should hang up the cleats and go home. He ain't got it no more.
He really doesn't, which is what's kind of like throwing me off here. I know his name was circulated around a couple AL teams. Like I know the Yankees and Sox are both interested, but I just don't see it anymore. I think just call it.
If he were to go somewhere, I'd see it more of like an up and coming team that just needs a veteran boost in their pitching staff. The Twins, the Braves, something like that.
Fair enough.
But he should hang him up.
My sneaky good name on here that is not going to be like a big contract maybe, but will be like a good role player. Josh Donaldson. I mean, age 34 season, still has a few good years left in him. You can get some worth out of that for sure. And I think a team is going to take advantage of that. I just don't know who.
I think he could probably stay put in Atlanta. I think that'll probably be how it works out. He's worked out really well down there.
Really
he looks well down there.
Idolize his career down there.
Another name that sticks out to me is Dallas Keuchel.
Oh, I forgot Dallas Keuchel. Yeah.
He's kind of gotten lost in the mix. I mean, he was the ace in Houston, 2-3 years ago? Not even?
Yeah, for the World Series winning team.
Yeah. And now he's buried in their rotation and off the team, basically, at this point. Like, he didn't play it all last year.
No.
But there are some teams that could use his talents, I'm sure. So I think he'll get himself at least a nice little contract.
We'll see. All right, so we're going to round off baseball with that, and we'll start, I believe, rounding off the episode. We're getting a little bit long here. Let's finish off with our poll of the week. Let's discuss our non-QB MVP pick, because let's be honest, it's always going to go to a quarterback. No matter what, the MVP is going to be a quarterback. Are you going to take Dalvin, or are you going to take Christian McCaffrey, boys? I'll give you a quick stat line here to give you a little reference. Christian McCaffrey has 1,244 total yards with 13 touchdowns. Dalvin's got 1,232 with 9 all on the ground. So what are you guys thinking?
CMC.
I mean, the obvious choice is Christian McCaffrey. Obvious choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I have to say, though, in Dalvin Cook's defense, is that, you know, he's getting all of those rushing yards. I mean, it's, you know, who's the better running back, like specifically on the ground? I go Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey, better all-around back.
Top player, but I think Dalvin Cook's better running back.
No, for that pick, I would pick Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I think he's, you know, what did you say, 1,400 total yards,
1,244. Oh, Dalvin, 1,200, 1,232.
Yeah, so, you know, they're comparable in yards.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that it shows, you know, that the Vikings have more weapons than the Panthers do. Because the offense goes through Christian McCaffrey. No, right. I'm just saying, the offense goes through Christian McCaffrey. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Which is why you'd want to pick him as your MVP.
Right, and which is why I think that it's impressive that he's been able to have a better year than Dalvin Cook, marginally albeit.
Right.
But when he's the only guy that you need to key on and he can still do what he's done compared to Dalvin Cook, who when you're looking at Thielen and Diggs and Cousins throwing the ball, and there's so many more weapons to be concerned with the Vikings offense, Cook should have room to do
Every defense that plays the Panthers is literally waiting for McCaffrey to run, and he still surprises them and gets through.
He's so quick.
Mm-hmm.
He hits those holes before they open up. He's through them.
He's gone, yeah.
One more thing I wanted to talk about today, real quick, is my favorite thing to watch, which is Max Kellerman or Stephen A. making takes. Kellerman today on, I forget what show, said that the Eagles wide receivers are dropping passes because Carson Wentz is a bad leader. That is an actual quote. I forgot to talk about that earlier in the show.
He's not wrong on Carson Wentz being a bad leader, but he's completely wrong on why the wide receivers.
It's not a cause-effect
No,
relationship
given
between those two
Why
events.
not?
Before was
Right.
given.
It seems like he had a take, he wanted to get it out and use that as the way to do it. And just kind
Yeah.
of stuff like that.
Wow.
Look, kind of like wrong formula, also wrong answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did not get the right answer.
No right
Not
answer.
wrong, right, but yeah. All right, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Unless you all have anything you want to say.
No, I mean I think overall, fantastic session, guys.
I think we touched on
Fantastic little session.
Yeah.
My pleasure to lead it this time. Thank you, boys. As always, you can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram at BOTA Sports. You can find us on WordPress at thebotasports.wordpress.com. We're working hard, literally, to get that as just a .com with no WordPress in between. We're going to be posting a bunch. We'll have this uploaded by tomorrow for you all. Wednesday, your ears will be blessed with the sounds of our voice and Chris's beautiful, beautiful takes and chip eating. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes,
And,
thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thank you so
As
much.
always, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a good one, y'all.
Full
Stay
podcast.
safe.
We all love you. Goodbye.